I'm wearing a different shirt because I'm filming this clip a few days after the original recording because I failed to bring up an important topic that I wanted to make sure got into this video, and that was addressing the criticisms of Nestorianism that the Reformed view of baptism often receives. Sometimes the Reformed view of baptism is criticized as being Nestorian because of the way we sharply distinguish the physical sign of baptism with the spiritual sign of saving faith. Nestorianism, of course, is a heresy that separates the human nature of Christ and the divine nature of Christ from one another to such a radical extent to the point where we can't even call Mary the mother of God, or we can't even say that God died on the cross because Mary only gave birth to human Jesus, or only human Jesus died on the cross. This is the Nestorian heresy, which is rejected by Reformed Christians, Lutherans, Roman Catholics, all Christians alike. So, of course, we don't want to affirm Nestorianism. The Reformed view of baptism, however, is not Nestorian, because it is not Nestorian to distinguish between the human nature of Christ and the divine nature of Christ. Obviously, as we've already stated, the human nature of Christ has specific attributes that the divine nature of Christ does not, and vice versa. So it is not Nestorian to distinguish between the two natures of Christ. What is Nestorian is to take these distinguishing features and going to the radical conclusion of saying, therefore, God did not die on the cross, Mary did not give birth to God, Jesus of Nazareth does not hold up the universe by the word of his power. That is the Nestorian heresy. Reformed theology does not speak of baptism in these Nestorian terms. While it is true that water baptism on its own does not save a person, and that only spiritual baptism of the Holy Spirit does save a person, we nonetheless can say that water baptism does indeed save the elect because of the way it is intimately related with the spiritual act of the baptism of the Holy Spirit in which it signifies. In the same way that we can say God died on the cross, even though the divine nature of Christ is not capable of death, so also we can say that the physical act of water baptism saves the elect individual who receives it, even though that physical act of water baptism itself does not confer salvation apart from the effectual work of the Holy Spirit. As the Westminster Confession of Faith states, the sign and the thing signified are so intimately related that the names and the effects of one can be attributed to the other. This is why physical baptism with water is said to save because of its union with the spiritual baptism of the Holy Spirit.